Natural disasters are an unfortunate fact of life on Earth. Earthquakes are no exception, especially in areas of the world that are more susceptible to them. They occur when blocks of the planet's layers move past each other, as they have done throughout the world's history. While we are only 20 years into the 21st century, more than 657,000 people have already been killed by earthquakes. Many more have been injured and made homeless. Earthquakes are very difficult to predict and impossible to prevent. They can also trigger other natural disasters such as tsunamis and landslides. Tragically, earthquakes often occur in countries that are least prepared to deal with such disasters. Here are the 7 deadliest earthquakes of the 21st century that were also caught on camera. 7. Gujarat Earthquake, 2001. Gujarat is a province of India and is located in the northwest of the country on the border with Pakistan. On January 26, 2001, the same day people in India celebrate Republic Day, commemorating the creation of the Republic of India in 1950, a magnitude 7.7 earthquake hit the province. The epicenter was a town called Bhuj, located on the Indian side of the India-Pakistan border. It was felt in northwestern India and parts of Pakistan. The quake killed 20,085 people and injured more than 150,000 others. Hundreds of thousands of people were also made homeless, many of whom were still living in makeshift shelters a year later. 6. Tohoku Earthquake and Tsunami 2011. The Tohoku earthquake was the strongest ever to hit Japan in the country's recorded history. The quake struck on March 11, 2011, with a whopping 9.0 magnitude. The epicenter of the tremor was not on land, but in the North Pacific Ocean, 81 miles or 130 km from the Japanese city of Sendai, located in the northern part of Honshu, Japan's largest island. The quake triggered a tsunami with waves of up to 132 feet high. In the end, 20,896 people lost their lives and 450,000 were made homeless. The quake and tsunami that followed it also triggered another disaster in the form of a nuclear meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. This meltdown released toxic, radioactive material into the environment. It also forced thousands of people to evacuate their homes and businesses. 5. Bam Earthquake. Iran is no stranger to earthquakes, and on December 26, 2003, one took place in the city of Bam, home to approximately 97,000 people. The quake, with a magnitude of 6.6, was the strongest to hit the country in 30 years. Casualties from the disaster totaled 26,271. Though some estimates put this number much higher, at upwards of 43,000, the quake also destroyed all the hospitals and health centers in the area, where up to 30,000 people were injured. In addition, 75,000 people were made homeless, and 5,054 children were orphaned. Experts have blamed poor building methods and lax regulations for the high number of casualties. 4. Kashmir Earthquake, 2005. On the morning of October 8, 2005, a strong 7.6 magnitude earthquake rocked northern Pakistan. The epicenter of the quake was in a city called Muzaffarabad, the capital of the Pakistani-controlled part of Kashmir. Total casualties are numbered at 87,351. An additional 38,000 people were injured in the disaster, and millions were left homeless. In addition, approximately 780,000 buildings were either totally destroyed or damaged beyond repair. These buildings included schools and hospitals near the epicenter. Animals were also not spared by the quake. In fact, 250,000 farm animals died, and another 500,000 large animals required immediate shelter due to harsh winter conditions. In some cases, it was difficult to get relief aid to some affected areas, as the quake severely damaged road networks and land connections to certain areas were cut off. Utilities like water and power were also cut off, though most of them were restored in a matter of weeks. It was estimated that about 3.5 million people were directly or indirectly affected by the 2005 Kashmir earthquake. 3. Sichuan, 2008. Sichuan is a province of the People's Republic of China and is located in the country's southwest. On May 12, 2008, an earthquake with a 7.9 magnitude hit the central region of the province. The epicenter of the quake was Duzhangyan, a city with a population of over 660,000. When it was over, about 4/5 of the structures in the affected area were flattened. Entire villages and towns were destroyed. 2. Haiti, 2010. On January 12, 2010, a strong 7.0 magnitude earthquake rocked the country of Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. The epicenter of the quake was just 15 miles or 25 km southwest of the country's capital and largest city, Port-au-Prince. It was the strongest earthquake to hit the country since the 18th century. Strong aftershocks also followed the initial tremor. When it was all over, at least 160,000 people were dead, with some estimates even higher than that. Because of the rush to bury the dead to put efforts towards cleanup and recovery, a more exact count of the dead is not possible. An already impoverished country, much of Haiti was reduced to ruins by the quake. Many buildings collapsed with ease as the country lacked adequate building codes, let alone proper reinforcement for earthquakes. Port-au-Prince, where much of the carnage took place, was still recovering from tropical storms and hurricanes that lashed the country less than 2 years prior. It's estimated that 3 million people, about 1/3 of Haiti's population, were affected by the quake. 1 million were made homeless. To make matters worse, it was extremely difficult for aid to come in and be distributed in the country. In fact, much of that aid was mismanaged, and ordinary Haitians were made to suffer as a result. 1. Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, 2004. The worst earthquake in the 21st century thus far took place on December 26, 2004. The epicenter of the quake was in the Indian Ocean. It was not the quake, however, that resulted in the deaths of 227,898 people, but the massive tsunami that followed it. The quake had a magnitude of 9.1 on the Richter scale, one of the strongest earthquakes on record. It triggered a massive tsunami that hit coasts from Indonesia and Southeast Asia all the way to the East Coast in Africa. In just a matter of hours, hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives. In fact, in one of the hardest hit cities, Banda Aceh, located on the northern tip of the Indonesian island of Sumatra, 100,000 people were killed instantly when the tsunami hit the city with waves measuring 100 feet high, or 30.5 meters. Also hard hit by the tsunami were countries of Sri Lanka, Thailand, and India. The local populations of these countries were not the only ones who sustained casualties. In Thailand, for example, around 2,000 tourists were also killed. In addition to the multitude of lives lost, hundreds of thousands of others were left homeless.